Every day means every day. My name is Brandon Burns, and I got some bad news for you. If you're stressed out right now, if you're overwhelmed, if you feel like your life is dissolving into chaos, you just feel like you can't quite figure it out. Like you're working hard, you are learning, you're improving, you're trying to do the right things, but man, it's a lot. It's a lot. If you feel that way right now, a couple of things. Number one, you're not alone. Number two, nothing's wrong with you. That's very, very normal. Everybody, I think, at some point in their life goes through it. And now they might not be going through the exact set of circumstances and situations that you're going through right now, but everybody goes through that same feeling, right? The stress, the overwhelm, the I don't know what's going on. Everything around me seems chaotic. There's no solid footing underfoot, there's no solid ground. So, number one, you're not alone. Number two, there's nothing wrong with you. But number three, it is your fault. And I know that might sound like a contradiction, but it's not. So hear me out. See, it's not saying it's your fault is not the same as saying that something's wrong with you. It's just saying that you have room to improve and that the burden of responsibility for changing the way that you feel rests on no other shoulders but your own. There's a story in the Bible about Jesus walking on water. And that's very significant. People think it was just a miracle to show his divinity, to prove that he was special. And I'm sure that's a part of it, but the symbolism behind that event is far deeper. You see, water, especially in ancient cultures, represented chaos. Water represented the unknown. It represented the essence of uncertainty, of uncontrollable uncertainty. I mean, you think about whitewater rapids or the ocean in general. You can't control that. If there's a tsunami, you can't control that. You can't do anything about that. It is going to run over everything in its path, and there's no telling where that thing's going to go. It's this raw, unbridled power, but it's chaotic power. It's not focused. It's not intentional. It's just raw power. It's also chaotic in the sense that it isn't necessarily uniform. I mean, you think about the ocean, it's not one ocean. It is billions, trillions even, of tiny little droplets of water. It is representative of the billions and billions of little things going on in your mind, those little stressors, those small little bite-sized pieces of anxiety, of stress, of depression, of overwhelm that all add up into this chaotic mess of life sometimes. That's what water represents. It's unknown, it's chaotic, it's uncertain. Jesus walking on water is not just saying, look at me, look at the cool magic trick I can do. Jesus walking on water is saying that because I am who I am, even on the face of chaos and uncertainty itself, my foot finds solid ground. Not because of a magic trick, not because of special effects, but because of who I am. I remember Burning Bush, I am that I am. And I think that there's a lot of depth in that story that we can learn from. It means that if we find ourselves in situations or in seasons of life where we feel overwhelmed, where we feel like everything around us is uncertain, where we feel like these rushing waters of life are just completely out of control, if we become the right person, if we actualize our potential, then maybe we can find some solid footing as well. Maybe we can find some solid ground even in the midst of uncertainty itself. Maybe. Because I think that a lot of people in life, they seek to remove the uncertainty, not realizing that what they're doing is removing life itself. See, it's like if life is this stressful and my ability to handle it is down here, what people try and do is decrease the stress instead of just increasing their capabilities to handle it and to stoically continue forward. And what people don't realize is that when you focus on increasing you, when you focus on becoming more, the whole world opens up to you. I mean, spiritually, relationally, financially, opportunities, just everything opens up to you. When you focus on you just kind of stay the same, but then you're desperately trying to decrease the uncertainty, decrease the stress, decrease the overwhelm, decrease the challenges, the adversity, the opposition. When you do that, you're setting yourself up for failure because you're not in control of a lot of that. And so then you get into this cycle of, okay, I tried, it didn't work, and now I feel bad about myself, and maybe I am powerless and out of control. And it's like this really self-defeating, cycle that comes from that. The other thing that I think people don't realize is when you're trying to decrease this side of the equation is you're running away from life itself. You are trying to decrease and remove life's essence. Because if you got the uncertainty and the stress and the overwhelm and the rushing waters of life down to zero, what you've done is eliminated life itself. There is no life without uncertainty. There is no life without randomness. There is no being without that water-like chaotic quality. It doesn't exist. It is a necessary ingredient, at least to life on Earth. And so when you try and run away from that stuff, you end up self-isolating, and you end up just like cocooning yourself. And that only leads to a lessening of life force. It only leads to you becoming less, you becoming smaller, you becoming more timid, you becoming more afraid. Scripture says you were not given the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And I think the more we strive for power, love, and a sound mind, and the less we worry about trying to eliminate opposition, adversity, stress, and challenge and difficulty, the greater we become rather than the more diminished we become. And if we do it enough over time, maybe eventually we can find some solid ground. Maybe eventually. It's not going to happen in a day. It's not going to happen in a week. It's not going to happen in a month. But maybe after a few years of really working on this, maybe after a lifetime of really working on that, like genuinely, earnestly trying to fulfill our potential, trying to become all that we can be, trying to become the version that we were called and created to be, maybe we too can find some solid footing no matter where our foot may step. And I think that's a worthwhile goal. I hope that you enjoyed this quick message today. If it resonated with you, please be sure to share it with somebody else and comment down below how you're going to take action and implement this in your life. Until next time, don't forget, every day means every day.